All right, Morty. Morty,
Yes.
all right.
Okay.
You're recording? Good.
Yes.
Good day, everyone. I know it's a busy time, Erev Rosh Hashanah, but I wanted to share with you an idea that perhaps will strengthen our devotion and appreciation of the great holiday that is coming upon us. In Rosh Hashanah, there are two haftorot. The entire concept of the haftorah, we really find it many times in the Torah. It says Katuv b'Torah v'shanui b'Neviim u'meshulash b'Ktuvim. There are ideas that are expressed in the Torah itself. They are repeated, but in a different language in the Nevi'im. And then they are repeated once more, again in a different language, in Ktuvim, which are the three sections of Tanakh, Torah, Nevi'im, Ktuvim. These things are done for emphasis, for us to realize that the eternity of the idea is to be understood in every generation. So it was said in the Torah by Moshe, it's said by the Nevi'im thousands of years later, it's said by Ksuvim after the Churban Bayis Rishon practically. And all of this is a reinforcement of the general idea that is being expressed, that is central to understanding Jewish life. So the Haftarot comes, so to speak, to repeat the idea of the Torah. The Torah told us a certain idea in the Kriya that we heard. The Haftarah in the main comes to reinforce and repeat that idea in a different format, but with the same essence. So on Rosh Hashanah, the Kriyat Torah that we all know is Avraham and Sarah, Yitzchak and the Akedah. The fact that Sarah is an Akara, a barren woman, and the fact that she miraculously gives birth. The Lord fulfills, so to speak, his promise to Avraham Avinu. Ki b'Yitzchak tikor lecho Zora. And Chazal tell us that B'yom Higomel et Yitzchak, he made a big party, Avram. All the great people of the world came to participate. You know, if you make a kiddush, everybody comes, right? So everybody came. And there were those that had mocked and scoffed him, who had said that Avram had no future. You see, he doesn't have a child. You see that he does not have a child. And Avraham is going to disappear. That's how they mocked him. But then it became that he had a child. Sarah gave birth to a child. And that was a miracle. So what do you say now? Avram says, Sarah said, Mi leile Avraham, Menika bonim Sarah. Ki yoladati bein to my old age, I gave birth to a child. So the Medrash teaches us that one of the people that was present was Og, Melech HaBoshan, the great giant Og. He was the remnant of the giants that existed earlier. He was the survivor of the war between the kings. He had designs on Sora. And he was one of the mockers, one of the scoffers. So at the party, his friend said to him, "What do you say now, Og? Look at that, he's got a baby." So Og said, "I'll take my thumb and squash him," meaning that it's not going to be, still not going to be. So you see that the Ron Shalom can perform miracles, but people don't change their minds. Og is going to have to remain an enemy of Israel till the end, till he's killed by Moshe. He has numerous opportunities to change his mind, to realize that he's dealing with God, not just with a people. But he doesn't change his mind. He's not impressed by it. He says, "I'll squash him later." Now, in the Haftorah of the first day that we will hear is the great story of the birth of Shmuel HaNavi, Moshe v'Aaron b'Cholanov u'Shmuel b'Korei Shmo. Moshe and Aaron have an equal, so to speak, and that's Shmuel HaNavi. And you have a repetition pretty much of the same story that appears in the Torah. Elkanah has a wife, Chana. Chana has no children. She has a competitor in the house who mocks her. And Chana never gives up. She's at the Mishkan in Shiloh, and there she pours out her heart to God. And she makes a commitment. She says, "If I have a child, I will raise the child to be God's servant." In other words, God is my partner in the child. Now that's how everybody has to see children. They're not the exclusive property of parents. Chazal say, Shlosha Shutfin Ba'adam. Three component partners that contribute to creating a human being. And God is the one that gives us the neshama, our soul, our eternity. So she says, "I'll give him to you, God," right? The only reason I want a child is because I want to serve you. And the Jewish people are going to need this child. The Tanakh teaches us that Eli HaKohen, the high priest, sees her. And he witnesses her in the midst of her prayers. And she is praying silently. Only her lips move, but no sound is heard. So the Tanakh teaches us, "Vayachshaveh lo kishikora." He thought that somehow she's drunk or insane or crazy. It's not normal behavior. And she said, no, that's not the case. I am someone that is very, very troubled. I would like to have the Lord answer me. And I am praying to him, and I devote myself to his service. So that's a replica of the story of Avram and Sarah. And it's a replica of the fact that the mockers and the scoffers say, nothing will come of this. But out of this comes the future of the Jewish people. Out of it comes everything. Can you just excuse me just 1 minute, please? Yes? Hi, Mayor, I'm in the middle of a Zoom. Can you try in a half hour? I'm sorry. So, Chana sings a song of praise to God. Olatz libi b'Hashem, Roma karni b'Hashem. And she remembers that she made that commitment. And therefore the Tanakh describes for us that when the young child Shmuel is old enough, she packs him up and brings him to Eli to be raised in the Mishkan, to become the great prophet of Israel. Now imagine a woman that prayed for a child, and that was her entire goal in life. And she was finally rewarded. You know, generally, the stereotype is that Jewish mothers don't give up easily on letting their sons go. But certainly in this case, we would understand that she would be hesitant. How do you send him away? But she remembers the commitment that she made. She remembers the purpose for which the child came into the world. And she remembered what the circumstances are here. And therefore she brings the child to Eli, and he's to be raised in the house of Eli, in the Mishkan. And that's how he becomes Shmuel HaNavi. And that's how her dream and vision, Chana's entire life, is now justified. And she left for us this great prayer, the prayer of Chana, that we hear on Rosh Hashanah, as a testament as to how we should view our generations, the gifts that the Lord grants us, what we have, what are the priorities in life, what is important and what is not really that important. So this Haftorah not only matches the story of Sarah and Avraham, but it expands on it. Because that's what Avraham said to the Ribono Shel Olam, Ma titein li, what else can you give me if I have no future? If we don't build for the future, if we don't create what will be after us. And it's not only a private thing in my own family and my own children, it's looking for the Jewish people. It's looking for all eternity. How do I know? And therefore on Rosh Hashanah, when we look forward to the year, we should realize what we're looking forward to. We're looking forward to the opportunity to serve the Ribono Shalom. That's what it means, Zachreinu Lechaim. Remember us for life, because Melech Chofetz B'Chaim, you're the one that wants our life, because if we have life, we can serve you. So to speak, you're a beneficiary of what you give to us, because we're going to devote it to you. And that's an attitude. That was always the Jewish attitude. That's how Jews saw it. The Gaon of Vilna, at the end of his life, legend says, held his tzitzis in his hand, and he said, what a wonderful world. For 2 kopek, you can see what you can do to serve God. That's an attitude. So some people, unfortunately, look at it as a burden, something difficult. I remember Ramesha Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Levrocha, told me once, people say it's a schwer zu sein a Yid. It's hard to be a Jew. I say it's a schwer nicht zu sein a Yid. It's harder not to be a Jew, because a Jew has this sense of purpose. The Jew has this opportunity always, that for 2 kopeks he can serve God. Everything is service of God. That's why there's so many. And therefore, so to speak, we can make this arrangement with heaven. You grant us life, and we'll grant you life too, through us, through our behavior, through our actions, through our attitudes. On the second day of Rosh Hashanah, we read a Haftorah from the Novi Yirmiyahu. This Haftorah is the message of redemption. Zacharti lo chesed nurayich avas kulasoyich lechtech acharai bamidbar beretz lo zrua. The Lord that redeemed us once from Egypt, when we went out and we went to a desert and to an uncertain future, and we were willing to take the risk. And the Ribono Shalom remembers that. Zocharti lo chesed nurayich. I remember the goodness of your youth. I remember that you took a chance with me. There were a lot of people that stayed in Egypt. During the early part of the Cold War, when the West was always afraid of the Soviet atomic arsenal, so there were those that advocated appeasement of Russia under all circumstances. Give Stalin whatever he wants. One of them was Bertrand Russell, the famous British philosopher, whatever, historian, intellectual. There are people who make a career of being an intellectual. So he coined the phrase. He said, better red than dead. Better to give in to the communists than get blown up by the atomic bomb. But that was a cowardly phrase. because being read is pretty much being dead at the same time. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, I remember you took a chance with me. Be'eretz lo zruah, a land that was not sown or plowed. Lech techacharai, you went after me, you followed me. And the Jewish people throughout our history has taken a chance with the Rebbeinu Shalom. He's taken us all over the world. And we've suffered many, many disasters and reverses. But we're still there. He hasn't shaken us. It's still Lech techacharai. I go after you. We had discussions here in Israel, how they're going to have prayers on Rosh Hashanah and how they're going to have minyanim and this and that, whatever. So I heard somebody said, so they won't pray this Rosh Hashanah. Yeah, they won't pray. Marash, what's the big deal? And such a person doesn't understand that the big deal is that if we don't pray, then there's no reason to be here. Then Corona is won without killing us, it's won. It's purposeless. If you can't serve the Rebbeinu Shalom, then what good is it? Ma chovas ha'adam ba'olamo. What are we doing here? Why did we come here? To watch the soccer games? I mean, what's the purpose? So that's the idea of Lech techacharai b'midbar. No, we're going to take a chance with you, God. Wherever you go. And that's what Ruth said to Naomi. Wherever you go, Basher telchi elech. Wherever you go, I go too. Basher tolini olin. Wherever you lie down, I will be there also. That's why I'm following you. We followed Rebbeinu Shalom for thousands of years. Thousands of Rosh Hashanahs have passed. And we're still following him. And that's an important lesson of Rosh Hashanah. It's interesting that when Avram Avinu is proceeding with Yitzchak and Yishmael and Eliezer to find the Hara Moriah for the Akedah. So it says in the Torah, Vayaras Hamoko Merachok. Avram saw it from afar. So Rashi says, Ro Onon Kosher Alohor. He saw that on that mountain there's a cloud of holiness. Hara Moriah, Hara Bayis. And he asked the Yishmael and Eliezer, do you see anything? And they said, no, Klum on Roim, we don't see it. It's too far away, we don't see it. And Yitzchak is the one that saw it together with his father. And therefore it says, Vayelchu Shneim Yachdov, both of them worked together. So he saw it from afar. What does it mean from afar? It's not just a question that he was 5 kilometers away. It means that he saw it in the perspective of afar. of generations, of eternity. He saw that by withstanding this challenge, he was going to guarantee the future, even though it doesn't look like that. It looks to be just the opposite, that this challenge will destroy his future. And the Torah says, Yan ki lo chasachta, because you didn't hold back, because you followed me. You took a chance with me. You saw the long picture, not the short-sighted one. Ki vorecha vorechecha, then I will certainly bless you. And you will be the eternal people. And in spite of all of the difficulties and everything that has occurred to us and continues to occur to us, all of this is worth it because Lechtei chacharai bamidbar, because you follow me, you still stay with me. So we hear it in the Haftorah. The Novi says, Merachok Hashem niro elai. I see God from afar, the Novi says. Novi Yirmiyah, thousands of years ago, sees us from afar, what it's going to be like. Therefore, that's why I love you, because you have the ability to see long range, not to be consumed by the pettiness of everyday mundane things. We're always interested in the immediacy. 24-hour news cycle. But most of the news is nonsense. But from afar, to be able to see what's going to be, where our future truly lies, that is the trait of Rosh Hashanah. So we say to the Ribono Shel Olam on Rosh Hashanah, Chana said, give me the child and I'll give him to you. Yirmiyahu says, take a chance with me. Follow me. We'll see where we end up. And perhaps our time, more than any other time over the last centuries, has experienced that. Living in Eretz Yisrael is taking a chance with God. Doing mitzvahs, supporting Torah, raising a family, encouraging others. So we live in a difficult time now. The coronavirus, it's terrible, right? But Merochok Hashem nirali. We have to be able to see past it. We have to be able to see from afar. We have to see the mountain that has the cloud on it. The greatness that is in store for us. And that should be the focus of how we think and how we behave. And what our efforts should be. I think that is true regarding every synagogue in the world. You cannot see the synagogues the way they are today. Limited, all sorts of rules and conduct, etc. You have to see it from afar. Oh, what it's going to be. How wonderful things will be yet. And that's what the Ribono Shel Olam will bless us with. A good and happy and healthy year for all of us, for all of mankind. To be a Shona Tova, Mesuka, and a Ksiva V'Chsima Tova to all of you. And I want to thank you all for your friendship and concern And it's really an honor for me and a pleasure to be able to be part of this with you.
Hello?
Morty?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, good.
You finished?
I'm finished.
I didn't hear. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm finished.